What's happening, everyone? Episode 24 of Chattin with Paddy The Baddy. Same as always, lad. Sponsored by Flux. I've got one of the brand new jackets on here as well. Absolutely flexing. Probably gonna have to take it off halfway through though, because I'm sweating in here already. Lad, it's warm in here already. But got a belter guest today. My man Adam Rowe. We went to school together and all that, lad. But introduce yourself, fella.
Yeah, comedian, West Derby, born and raised. I say that, I'm from W.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's chatting shit, lad. He's from W.
Things are going all right, so West Derby, if you don't mind.
Kemsley's born and raised, lad.
Yeah, I mean, number 20 actually, go and knock and see who lives there now. Yeah, been in West Derby for a while, comedian, podcaster as well, and yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on, lad, straight away. Another podcaster, lad, like having other people on like that. I've been on your podcast as well, and lad, I had a proper good time on your podcast, you know.
As we have a lot of guests saying that, because like we have, whenever we have a guest on now, I always say to them, look, it's not really an interview. Yeah. We're not going to be like interviewing you like every other podcast, because otherwise it just gets boring. We just come and have a laugh at us. Just come and join in. And get involved with it.
When I was there, lad, I proper enjoyed myself. I was just laughing my head off constantly, because at the time as well, I didn't look like this. It was like 2 or 3 weeks after the fight.
Yeah, you'd been feeding.
Face was like that. I had big cheeks out here, and we were just talking about all madness, lad.
Oh, we were made up with the timing of having you on, because obviously we're quite, like, we're small, but like our fans are mental. Like the ones, lads, the people who love it.
Your patrons are boss, lad. Absolutely brilliant.
Insane. But like whenever we have a big guest on, we always get like a big boost, and then loads of them stay. And we had you on the week before you signed your UFC contract.
Yeah.
And then it went out as you signed it. So like everyone's running to YouTube going, who's this Paddy The Baddy? And because we were a recent upload, we were right at the top of it.
Oh, that's
so that episode's done like triple the views.
Yes, the Baddy effect. We love it. We fucking love it.
Oh, it was fucking perfect. We were made up.
I like some of the a few people have said to me, lad, on my podcast, I need to start having like, the way you have like questions and shit at the end and stuff like that. Lad, when you asked me that question about that, what was it, the kid saying that? Like, it was one of the questions.
I was bad at being getting like slotted.
They'd been getting slotted by someone else, and then he's going on holiday with a lad. I was fuming over that for about a week, you know. Lad, I was. I was sitting in ours, lad, a few days later, like, I hope that kid swears there. But, lad, I swear to God, I was sitting there proper fuming, like talking to me mates about it and that.
Yeah, we loved it, because obviously when you did it, Dan wasn't in, was he? Dan was off.
No.
He was.
That's why I still need to come back on again with Dan, lad.
We'd love to have you on whenever, lads, obviously. But I remember it, because Dan was like, if I'm not on, well, I say, if I'm on or I'm not on, I don't watch our podcasts. Once it's out, it's just done. Yeah. And I can't do it. Dan watches everything when he's not on. Yeah. Because he wants to know what he's missed out on and stuff. And he was like, Paddy was great. And we had this with that Vicky Patterson recently, you know, off Geordie Shore. She came on and she was the same, because you've got these massive followings, but you've got them from being you. Whereas so many comedians come on ours, or like other personalities, who feel like they can't be themselves. Yeah. So they're a bit reserved, and they're a bit like, oh, well, you know, he should air the girl out and whatever. And Dan was like, Paddy just being like, fuck her off. Yeah. She's a slag. She deserves none of your attention. Never speak to her again. It was boss for us, because me and Dan are like that. Yeah. Because we've built the podcast up and the Patreon and stuff. We don't really need anyone anymore, so we can be ourselves, but comedians still need like all the TV people and to be put on fucking question time and all that. They're trying to play a certain role, whereas we're just like, oh yeah, fuck it off, whatever. And you were to the nth degree, exactly. You're like, fuck it off.
I'm just me, lad. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like, as you say, there, some people have like personas and stuff. Like, some comedians are like fighters, where fighters have personas, don't they? Like, comedians have personas, so you don't want to like let the true colours come out. But I can't help myself, me, lad.
No, neither can I. I used to have to tone it down a bit, and the problem for me, so I'm not sure how much you know about like the comedy industry and that the sort
of. Know what? No, like go into detail, like, because I haven't got much of a clue about the comedy industry, and that's what everyone wants people want to know about.
So obviously, all year round, until you're famous enough, or famous is the wrong word, but you've got a profile of enough to sell your own tickets, and then you do your own tour and whatever. Then you do the comedy club circuit. So people aren't going to the comedy club to see a certain person; they're going just for the night out.
Yeah.
It's like going
the hot
to booze.
Water one.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Hot Water Comedy Club.
Hot Water's slightly different because of Paul and me. Yeah. And mainly Paul. Because Paul's got this massive following, and there's a few people who know I am and we're there all the time, there is a lot of people who go for me or Paul. Yeah. But at most comedy clubs, so like the Comedy Store in Manchester, the Glee Club in Birmingham, Top Secret Comedy Club, there's loads all over the gaff. People are going just specifically to go and see comedy. They're not asked who's on. And that's what we do for years. And you get a flat fee, you get like 200 quid for 20 minutes, which seems sound, but once you take your fucking train and all that out, it's next to nothing, do you know what I mean? It's the same.
With your expenses and stuff.
Yeah. And like, like people say like, oh, fighters do all right, they're getting whatever for a fight, but like because it looks, you just say the number and you look at nothing that goes into it, people go, oh, it's good wage for a night's work, that. They don't realise that you don't only fight for months.
For 8 weeks that you've trained to get into that and you've paid so many people to do shit.
And then in August every year, there's the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Yeah. And you go up there and it's just full of people doing whatever it takes to get their career up to the next level, right? So you're in like these bars that are specifically for comedians and comedy industry people and stuff. And people are just like on the best behaviour. And I've always struggled with the fakery of it. Like I can tone myself down a bit. Yeah. But you can't be fake. But as soon as I've had 6 pints, lad, like the proper scouser in him comes out. You can't help it. There's 2 other comedians, and these lads are well more in the industry than I am as well anyway. Yeah. So Alfie Brown, really good mate of mine. I've been with him this weekend as well. And you know the lad from, he does the voiceover for Love Island, Ian Sterling. Yeah. Right. They're both Liverpool fans. Like big Liverpool fans. Like not from Liverpool, but they'd fucking love to be from Liverpool. Yeah, I get you. And we watched the Super Cup in Edinburgh when we beat Chelsea. When we beat Chelsea on pens. Right. Yeah, nice. So we just went out and there's no one else in Edinburgh who's Liverpool fans, it's just us 3, right? Yeah. And then we end up in one of those industry bars at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's just full of people like, so we'll have to set up a dialogue and an email chain, and we'll circle back in a few months, and yes, we'll just have to double check the ifs and buts. I'm gonna loop Brian in on this, and he can, and they're all doing that, and we're just literally like, I was fucking like just getting pissed after the big result, but trying to be, and we just went over the edge, and we got kicked out for singing Liverpool songs. And there's people literally doing like business deals for Netflix in the corner and stuff. And you're just in there, and we're just the fucking Reds. Oh, lad, it was great. And we left, and the next day they were like, "Oh, I can't believe we got kicked out." And I was like, you know what? I don't even regret it. Like, like if anyone's going to work with me, that's what they're working with, really. Yeah. So any of the industry people in there who were turned off by that and like, oh, I couldn't work with him, then we'd have ended up falling out over the business thing anyway. So, yeah. That is the thing about just being your true self, innit, lad? If you're not your true self from the beginning, eventually it's going to come out when you're with someone for so long. And yeah. And also, like, people want it. Like, we're in a world now where whether you're a fighter or a comedian, our goal is to sell tickets, innit? You're trying to sell tickets for fights and pay-per-views. Yeah. I'm trying to sell tickets for stand-up shows and then get people to watch specials and podcasts and whatever. People aren't going to buy into you if they can smell from a mile off you're a fake. Yeah. They want people to be them. There's too many of us competing for everyone's attention. Yeah. So they're going to go for the ones that they actually relate to. And a crowd of people can sniff out someone fake like that. And that's why... Yeah, there's a load of people who are just not going to make it. Yeah. It's mad, lad, because as you say that, lad, I can proper compare it to fighters. There's so many fighters that have got this stupid little persona, or like they're just fake. There's lots of people doing it in the UK now. Yeah. Like it used to be an American thing. In America, like Colby Covington, prime example, puts on a big act, you know what I mean? It has to be this. But now, lad, there's loads of people doing it in the UK. It's because they've seen the success of it, though, innit? There's always going to be mimics, like... It's almost like hack and cliche to talk about them, but it's what Conor did. It's funny because turned up and went, yeah, but you're not the same thing. Exactly. It does me head in. Like, people go, oh, he's just trying to be Conor McGregor. He's even copying. Lad, I've even had people saying he's copying his accent. Do I sound Irish to you? So this is what we were talking about before the cameras went on. So I was in New York in January. I went for half a trip with me ex-missus, and I went for work as well to do a couple of podcasts and a couple of gigs and that. And all the comedians come like, oh, you're great, man. Like, are you Scottish, Irish, or... And the funniest one I got was Syrian. Someone was like, what? Is that a Syrian accent? And I was like, who the fuck goes straight to Syria? Yeah. Do I look Syrian? Well, I do look a little bit Syrian, don't I? I look like a Syrian who's been missing the sun for a while. You know what I mean? Hasn't seen any sunlight for weeks. The big eyebrows, lad. The hair, like, I'm a hairy man. You know what I mean? There could be a bit of sort of like pale Middle Eastern in me. Do you know what I mean? Sick man, you know. But so I did a gig, Gotham Comedy Club, right? And I had to follow one of my favourite comedians, a mate of mine. His name's Andrew Schultz. He's massive over there, and he's got a big following over there as well. And he watched me set. And I had a good set, but it was doing me head in because I couldn't figure out what was going on. Yeah. Things that normally get a massive laugh were getting slightly less. And things that normally get a middle laugh, we're getting big ones. And that, for 12 years of comedy, I've never had it. I know what works and what doesn't. And I know the jokes that are 7 out of 10 and the jokes that are 10 out of 10. And obviously sometimes the 7s get a 6. But then on that night, the 10s will get a 9.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because everything just drags down with the average. And it was just all over the gaff. And I was like, what's going on? And I come off and Schultz was like, you were confused up there, weren't you? And I was like, yeah, but how do you know?
I was about to say that. How did he know?
And he went, you're getting big laughs where you normally get little ones and getting little ones where you normally get big ones. And I was like, yeah. He went, it's because they couldn't understand every reference you said. He's like, the odd little inflection they just went with because they were enjoying you and they liked you. And every time they understood you, you got a massive laugh. He's like, but sometimes there was like, I used the word throttled. So I've got a joke at the minute about, and I'm not condoning it, about like domestic violence.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, so the bit of the joke, I won't do the joke, but it's like, some birds get treated like shit. So then that's how people like me end up with attractive women because they get like their late 20s and they're like, I'm not asked what he looks like. I just don't want to be throttled.
Yeah, and they don't understand what throttled actually means.
Yeah. So it didn't really get a big laugh, and he was like, "What's throttled mean?" And I was like choked. He went, "You should have said choked." He's like, "We just don't have that word here at all."
I know what you mean there. It's like at the minute now, I've got an American Division 1 wrestler over training with me, chasing. He's from San Diego, and I have Blaze over who's been doing me vlogs. Lad, he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And lad, I say some things and they go, "What?" Know what I mean? Like just don't, like when I go, like in America, I kept going to people in New York and San Diego, yeah, it's cushy that. And they go, what did you just say? Cushy? And I'd be like, yeah, cushy is like, means good, okay, yeah. And they're like, just say good, man. And I'm just like, oh.
They're like, but we already have a word for that. Yeah. Why are you not using the word that we all know? Like, but it's things that you don't realise are like Scousisms or even Britishisms.
Yeah.
Like, to us, it's just part of our lexicon. It's part of the things we say every day. But to them, it's just... And especially if it means something completely different.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of one now, but one's probably going to come out as we're just talking.
Yeah.
Like, I always say stuff.
There's probably been about 50 already.
A bar, yeah. Like, another one, you know.
Yeah, you know.
When I go, yeah, you know what I mean? And like, people like have to type in on the internet what the British slang, you know. Someone tweeted at me yesterday.
But it's just you know.
Yeah,
and a bar is just about
a bit shorter.
And it's so close.
Yeah.
And to us, it's just there every day.
Us, yeah, it's just a normal thing every day. We're just like, yeah, what about that? Yeah, you know what I mean, don't you? And like, to them, it's like, what does that mean, lad? But
yeah, to New Yorkers, like, we sound Syrian, apparently.
That's the sickest shout ever. Someone asking you if you're Syrian, lad. I would have said, do I look Syrian?
Well, to them, maybe I look like I've had like a weathered journey to get there. You know what I mean? Like, you look like you're trying to stay in this country, mate. I'm thinking maybe in a couple of years. So I've agreed today actually to move into a flat in town.
Yeah.
Been in West Derby for ages, wants to live in town. Done the whole breakup thing. I'm just going to fucking move, get out this house. I was going to buy somewhere, but I don't think I'm going to do it just yet. I'm going to rent this gaff for a year because I might move to New York and try and crack America stand-up wise. But my accent's going to have to change. I can't have this thick an accent in America.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mate Colin. He's American. He's from Dublin, but he's New York-based comedian and podcaster. And when I met him at the Edinburgh Festival a few years ago, he was so fucking Dublin. Call him Terrell. And now he's got he sounds like he's from fucking Brooklyn with a slight twang on it. It's mad. And I was like, what's going on with your accent? He's like, I've just had to change it to work here. It's like, I was just, half my jokes were just going over the audience said because they just can't understand us at all.
The one thing I know what you mean there is like, if you've seen people on the telly, like elocution lessons, don't they? Like,
yeah.
Like Steve, what's his name? Steve McManaman. He's one. He's had like elocution lessons to get.
My favourite thing with McManaman was someone tweeted he calls Danny Ingings. He proper lands those G's, doesn't he? He's running down the winging. It's like, oh, come on, Steve, you're from fucking Bootle, mate. Do you know what I
mean? Like, that's what, like, Carragher's done well with that, to be honest, being a pundit, because he's still got, like, a Scouse twang. But
I just think he's just Scouse. I think he's like same, what you and, like, most Scousers do. Steve McManaman does my fucking head in, to be honest with you.
I'll be honest, I'm the same. Like, when I listen to him commentate, sometimes I mute it. I'm just like, lad, I can't be dealing with your
There should be like a red
accent.
button on BT Sport, right? And if McManaman's commentating, you can just switch him out for like Mr. T or something. Like, you can just, remember like when Sat-Navs
like
used to have like...
That was a ball, fool.
Yeah. Remember
Good pass.
When Sat-Navs used to have like, you would just pick your voice. You could have like Homer Simpson be like, turn right. Like, you need that. But for BT Sport with Steve McManaman, you could just make it anyone you like.
You need fan zone back, lad. That fan zone used to be hilarious, you know. Fan zone used to be so funny, lad. I'd watch back now, like when we beat United 4-1 and they went 1-0 up. I've went back and watched some of them back, and you're just like, they're like unbelievable to watch.
Yeah. Especially with a United fan who's gone 1-0 up at Old Trafford and thinks the game.
Because they went bananas at first, didn't they? Thought, it's over. But as you said, lad, when I noticed it myself, like in New York and San Diego, people were saying to me, could you say that again? Could you slow down? And I'm like I don't realise how quick we talk.
Yeah, it's only when you watch yourself back.
Yeah, like I don't realise how quick we talk. I get about 10 words out in 2.4 seconds, lad.
Yeah.
And they're like, could you slow down, please?
Yeah, I was talking to my mate Alfie, who I mentioned before. I was talking to him about this because he watched my set a couple of weeks ago. And he's very well-spoken, Alfie. So his ma's from Liverpool, but he was born and raised in London. That's why he's a Liverpool fan. Like, all his family are Scousers. And he was like, I'm jealous of your accent for on stage. He's like, because there's a line in one of my jokes at the minute. And he's like, he could never do it because it wouldn't get the laugh. Yeah. Because it's about getting it out so quick. So another routine I've got at the minute is about the Liverpool terror attack. Yeah. And, like, laughing at the terrorists, not the driver.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, of course. Goes without saying.
And it's sort of like laughing at how shit he was at terrorism. Yeah. Like, and the line is, he couldn't even kill some cunt in the same car. Right? Like, how shit is your bomb got to be if you can't even kill some cunt?
It's fucking spot on that, like.
And Alfie was like, I could never say, because Alfie talks very well.
Yeah.
He's Alfie Brown. And he's like, I couldn't say he couldn't even kill some cunt in the same car.
Yeah, because it takes that long.
But as a Scouser, he couldn't even kill some cunt in the same car. Like, it's half a second and it's about 9 words. Couldn't even kill some cunt in the same car. That's not 1 second. We can check it on that if you want.
Yeah, you're
ready?
right.
Couldn't even kill some cunt in the same car. It didn't even go to 23.
You're right there, like that is. And then with him, it'd take him about 5 seconds.
About a minute and a half, I think. Yeah. So it's weird how accents work, especially for like performance stuff. Yeah. Like I think Kevin Bridges is one of my favourite comedians over here.
I love Kevin Bridges as well, lad.
But without his accent,
it wouldn't be the same.
He loses 20%. Yeah. He's an amazing comic and I'm sure he'd figured it out, but there's definitely a sort of string to it.
I love me Scottish comedians, me like him and Frankie Boyle. They're great, lad.
Frankie, Big Billy as well. Billy Connolly. It's quite sad now with him, with his Parkinson's and that. But
I'll be honest, lad. Me dad put me off Billy Connolly years ago. He never liked Billy Connolly, so my dad put me off him and never
really?
watched him. Yeah,
oh, we need to have a word with your dad. We need to get your dad on, have a word with him about Billy Connolly.
Mark Pym's not into Billy Connolly, lad. Never has been, so I just never watched them, lad. As you know, you do what your fucking dad does not do, don't
lad,
do that. So
I'm sorry. Look, I don't want to disrespect your father in any way, because if he's anywhere near as hard as you, he'll punch me head in. But what's your dad's name?
Mark.
Mark, lad. Come on. It's the Godfather. Like, he's on Mount Rushmore for comedians.
Reckon, yeah?
Yeah.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore for comedians then? That's a good shout.
Billy definitely sort of invented what British comedy became.
Yeah.
He took it from the sort of pub joke comedian, like my mother-in-law. Like, he took it from that to the storytelling, observational, opinionated stuff that you get now from the top level. So his like stories of working on the docks in Scotland and Glasgow, and it changed British comedy. And even if you don't love what he does, which you absolutely would, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. You would. Your dad's wrong. Like, you would. You've got to respect it from the impact he had. Like McGregor.
Yeah.
Even if you hate everything about him, it's undeniable the impact he's had on MMA.
The sport. Yeah.
And no one can ever take that away. And Billy's that. Richard Pryor.
Lad, I made up. You said Richard Pryor, you know. Yeah. Lad, when I was a kid, I used to watch Richard Pryor. Know
the first comedian I ever seen.
Same, lad. Like, one of my favourite ever jokes is where he's shooting the car tyres.
Yeah.
They don't kill cars. I'll never forget sitting there for like 30 minutes just going,
I'm leaving your ass. No, in this motherfucker.
Yeah, no, this you ain't. Lad, I swear to God, Richard Pryor. Oh, what a man.
Yeah, that show in particular as well. So that one, I think it's just Richard Pryor live, and he's got his red shirt on.
Yeah, the red shirt on. Yeah, and the black.
I think that might be the best hour of stand-up ever on tape. And then So this is a controversial one for a couple of reasons. So there's a fella called Patrice O'Neill. You might not know Patrice.
I do. He does all the voices and that as well, doesn't he? He does some belter voices.
No, not really. I don't know whether you know.
I might be getting... It's the fat black fella, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be getting him mixed up with someone else there.
He only ever released one special areas called Elephant in the Room. But Elephant in the Room... Is he
dead now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was, yeah.
He's fat and black. And
I think I've watched that Elephant in the Room on YouTube, and it's just non-stop battle of laughs. You just keep laughing constantly.
He's just... So, do you know what he was the best at? Being honest.
Yeah.
And he's also not very articulate. He's not got a very good way with words. Some of the best comedians are really intelligent and they've got such a good vocabulary. But he's really amazing at not using many words because he hasn't got them.
Yeah.
But getting his idea across. So he'll go like, you know, people they get upset with what I say, but just because I say something and you think it to be something that don't mean that I meant it the way you upset, and that's fine, but that's not really on me. It's sort of, you know?
Yeah.
And he hasn't actually said a fucking thing, but you know exactly what he means. That's what he's amazing at. And also just the brutal honesty of the male existence. He's like, you don't know what men are like. Women and men will never get on properly because women are women and men are awful, but we can't help it, and it's not really our fault, so just shut the fuck up. And women are awful, but it sort of is your fault, and you need to... Like, he's so... And he... Like, the things that comedians and, like, public figures get accused of now, like being a misogynist, obviously no one wants to be accused of being sexist in any way.
Yeah.
He would go on stage and be like, I'm a misogynist. And as soon... It's like the Donald Trump thing, who obviously we all hate and whatever, is sort of like, he'd be like, I'll just say it. And if I say it, then no one can accuse me of it.
Yeah.
So he's got a routine. He starts his set. And what he was... I love doing this with an audience as well. I try and do it. Not anywhere near to the level he could. I try and lose an audience just so I can try and win them back.
Win them back straight away, yeah.
He would go on stage and start his sets like that. So he would go on stage and be like, I'm a misogynist, opening line.
Yeah.
We're just better. And he's doing it to piss all the women off so that he can then win them back.
Yeah.
And he's doing it for sport, and obviously none of it's real and it's all jokes and you can't take anything seriously. He was phenomenal. So even though he only ever had one special, like 1 hour anyway, he's got a couple of half hours out there.
In fact, lad, I know I was mixing him up with Ariel Spears.
Yeah,
I was mixing him up with him. Sorry, lad, but I know.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
He is phenomenal. And then, so for me, for a long time, it was Bill Burr.
I thought you were going to say, and to be honest, or the Australian fellow, what's his name again?
Jeffries.
Yeah.
So I don't put Jeffries up there. I think Jeffries is really good.
Yeah.
But I don't think he comes into this conversation for me.
He doesn't, I'll be honest, with them names, he doesn't, lad. But like one of my ones that I even still use to this day with Bill Burr is when my bird tries to say about getting the dog neutered. I'm pro dog balls. I'm pro dog balls. Don't ever cut my dog's balls off. He hasn't said he wants them cutting off, has he?
Yeah. She's like, I've read something that says it's good. And I was like, well, I've read something that says it isn't.
Yeah.
So it's a stalemate. So let's not start cutting stuff off the fucking dog. So I met him a few years ago. I was very, 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 very lucky. I got to open 4 of his UK tour dates.
Yeah, brilliant.
So when he taped his last special, Paper Tiger in London, I was the opening act at the Royal Albert Hall for those 2. And just the best week of my life career-wise, because he's a hero of mine and just get to do that was boss. But... And I'm sorry, Bill. Not that you'd be watching. He's
you never know, lads. You never know. He might get on the... You may be, what's this Chattin pony with Adam Rowe here?
So Rushmore's 4, innit?
Yeah, it's 4.
And we've got Billy Connolly, I think, for his impact in the UK, I think has to go on it. I think Richard Pryor's just always going to be there. I think Patrice is there. And then I think because of the specials he's put out in recent years, I think it's Chappelle.
Yeah.
I think Chappelle has to be 4. And that means Bill is like...
If it was 5, Bill would be in
he's
there,
round the corner on another mountain. Do you know what I mean? He's on the next one.
People do the same with me with MMA and say like, and I always say a top 5. I can't help it. I always say a top 5, lad.
If there's a 5th, it's Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he just, because of...
Chappelle's been doing it for so long as well, hasn't he, lad? There's so many different like specials and different like
Chappelle
routines.
is very deliberately misunderstood. So a lot of people... There's a bit of a culture war in comedy that I'm getting bored of, to be honest. They're like, what can you say? What can't you say? What's a joke? What isn't a joke? And everyone, like, I don't know where you fall on that.
For me, like, comedy is comedy. It shouldn't be taken, like, seriously, like, people's views and that. You're saying it as jokes.
Okay, let me ask you the question then, because this is what I always struggle with in this conversation. Let's say you were at a comedy club and the comedian did a joke about Hillsborough.
Yeah.
How would you feel?
That's about people dying, so it's a little bit different.
But what about a 9/11 joke? You wouldn't be asked. And it's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm exactly the same, right? And I've had to sit there and take a Hillsborough joke before. There's a show in Edinburgh called Hate and Live, and the whole point it's the most offensive show at the Edinburgh Festival. And I'm on a panel and we're joking, and I'd made some horrific jokes about 9/11 and other like stuff because that's what the show is. And then the comedian next to me made, at my expense, a Hillsborough joke.
Yeah, of course.
And there was a Scouse on the front row as well. And we both because we'd both been laughing at everything else that got said.
We both just had to look at each other.
We just had to be like, I'm not going to laugh at it because he's reached my line.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with comedy is everyone's got their thing they give a shit about.
Yeah, you're right.
So when Chappelle does a joke about transgender people and we all laugh at it because it's like, oh, he's only joking.
Yeah.
To transgender people who live their life every day with people spitting at them in the street and stuff because of who they are, that is as bad as a Hillsborough joke to them.
Yeah, I completely understand that, you know.
And then to us, we will laugh at 9/11 or anything else, but people died there and they haven't really had justice, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes round to the thing you give a shit about, we're all hypocrites and we'll all kick off. And as an intelligent person in comedy, and I joke about the most horrific shit and I say some really fucked up stuff on stage because it makes me laugh. And I will say, here's where it gets really difficult for me, is if a comedian did a Hillsborough joke, I would be disgusted and angry and really upset. But I couldn't join in the boycott online. Yeah. Because there's so many things you could dig up about me that I've said.
Lad, you know what? I completely understand that point of view, lad. You're spot on. If we laugh at other shit like that, because as you say, it's a joke. It's not as if he's doing it purposely to try and get under people's skin and be a knobhead about it. It's a joke. You're on stage, you're a comedian.
Yeah.
That's what I do always say, like, they can't be taken too seriously because you're trying to make people laugh.
Yeah. But then when people do take it seriously, I think this is where a lot of comedians who do dodgy humour fall down, is when people do take it seriously, calling them all idiots and woke lefties and all that shit is so stupid because you've got your thing as well.
Yeah.
And it will come back around to you and you will look like a knobhead for saying all these people can't kick off about Jimmy Carr's traveller joke at the Holocaust thing that he's been having thing this week going, oh, it's just a joke, everyone needs to shut the fuck up. Well, okay, but eventually some comedian is going to do a joke about the thing that you hate being joked about and you're going to moan about it. So whenever it kicks off with, here's the flip side of it as well though. When people do kick off about jokes or anyone saying something wrong, I'm always like, okay, here's what if I was Prime Minister, if I ran for Prime Minister and they were like, right, you're in charge now, what's the rules on like cancel?
That'd be brilliant, that, Adam as Prime Minister. Imagine that, lad.
I'd be like, right, here's the rules. When someone's getting cancelled, when it's all kicking off, if you want to have a go at them for what they've said, you've got to release your last 3 months of WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, no one's going to do that.
Because everyone said something as bad, if not worse.
Worse? So, hell, lad, some of the chats I'm in, lad, the shit what gets said, wow.
Yeah. Like, illegal shit goes on in WhatsApp groups. I've seen a woman, this is true, get bummed to death by a horse.
I've seen that video, yeah.
Of course you have. Yeah. And did you send it to the police or did you forward it to the other groups?
Yeah, I got forwarded to the next group. As you do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I got sent once a day of a fella in a mad country, lad, fucking shagging a horse, or shagging a goat or something. You're like, how does this even get sent to me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, if the police did see that, you probably could get arrested for it.
Yeah. So that'd be my rule. My rule is if you want to publicly be like, this person said this, and no one should ever say that ever.
Yeah.
Release your receipts. I want to see how sound you are when no one else is watching. Because you're a fucking liar. You're a hypocrite. You're just as much of a gobshite as the rest of us are. And trying to be this morally virtuoso online, you're a gobshite. Release your receipts. Yeah, if you want an opinion, you want to tell me I can't joke about this, show me what you said when this big thing happened in your WhatsApp group.
Yeah, and no one could see what you were saying. Yeah. It was just you and a few other people. Let's see what your true colours are.
Yeah, because that's what a comedian is. When we're on stage, we're not thinking about the millions of people who are going to see the stuff. It's the people in the room. That's who we're talking to. We're in one big WhatsApp group for the night. There's 200 people in the audience. It's one big WhatsApp group. We all know that it's a joke. We all know I'm not being serious. We all know everything I say is not to be taken seriously, and I'm not making a statement, and I obviously don't believe what I'm saying. And everyone in the comedy club has bought into the idea of, oh, this is just us, and we're in a basement and it feels underground and naughty and stuff.
Safe, we can say what we want in here.
Yeah, but when it goes online, people kick off. They haven't bought into that. So, but if they want to moan about it, show me what you're like when you think you're in the comedy club of your phone.
Yeah, lad, that is a good one. That, you know, lad. We need to petition for that. Because then there'll be no Karens left then, lad. Would there? There'd be no Karens left in the world when stuff what you say behind closed doors and on like WhatsApp chats and that comes out, because everyone said something bad or said something. You know what I mean? No one's fucking Jesus Christ reincarnate. No. Nobody.
No, we're all arseholes. And you just need to accept that.
Yeah.
As soon as you expect...
I always say that we're all cunts.
Yeah, we all are. But like, you've just got to be a sound cunt. You've got to do your best to be as sound as you possibly can, as often as you can. That's the plan.
That is spot on, that, you know. It is, lad. You can never be the perfect person, lad. No one is. There's no such thing as the perfect person.
No.
But you can be understanding of other people and not complain about stuff that you've probably done yourself.
Yeah, 100%. We did have a weird event the weekend. We did the roast of Adam and Dan. You know, like the American style roasts.
Yeah.
Where like me and Dan were sat on a couch and we had 6 comedians and a host just saying the most horrific shit in the world. And honestly, lad, if we're going to release some of the jokes, but we can't release them all. Some of them you
can't release, yeah. I knew you were going to say that. Some of them will have to be kept under wraps because they'll get hate for it.
I'll tell you some of them when we're done.
Yeah.
Lad. We're so lucky that no one was like slyly filming it.
Slyly videoing.
Because I knew it was going to be bad, but it was...
Was it even worse than you expected?
Yeah.
Jesus. No, we'll just say it at the end, lad. We don't even want people reading.
I don't want
lips.
any footage of it anywhere in the world,
lad. Yeah, we don't want no one reading lips and shit, because that can happen, lad. We don't want Adam getting cancelled, lad. That's not happening. That can't be happening. I can remember like the first, like, when I thought, oh my God, my man, when I seen you on that advert. He went to our school.
Yeah, on the Nationwide advert.
On the Nationwide advert. That was like the first time that I'd proper seen you, like.
Okay, we can talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Because I've spoke about it on ours now, so I suppose if anyone's going to get me in trouble for saying this. I hated being on that advert.
Yeah.
It was so strange. So obviously, I've got to accept I'm going to be in the public eye with what I'm doing. And like when you do Live at the Apollo, you know when your Live at the Apollo episode's on. It's on Friday. I think it's on this week, actually, at Friday night.
Is it? Yeah.
I think so. It's been on before, but I think like the extended one's on this week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a reminder on for that, lads. You're going to have to let me know that.
I will do. But you know when it's going to be on. You expect it. You tell everyone, oh, I'm on at this time. The advert just come on at random times, and it was always on at like half-time during the match.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was stood in a pub in Birmingham just watching a match on my own, because I was in Birmingham for a gig.
Doing a gig, yeah.
I'm the only Liverpool fan, so I just went to watch it on my own. I'm stood there having a pint, and then at half-time, it comes on the telly, and the whole pub's like, I think that's that lad who stood at the bar, you know. And you got no idea how weird it is to just be looking at your phone and hear your own voice.
Yeah.
Like, on the advert, I was like... So, the advert you're talking about, for anyone who hasn't seen it, was for Nationwide Bank. And they basically got a load of comedians to write banking jokes and filmed us, and then they were like, we're going to try and make an advert out of it. But it had to go through all the lawyers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about with like me joking about anything on stage and saying whatever I want, when you're doing an advert and you're getting paid a lot of money, I'll tell you what it was afterwards, and it's why I said yes.
Yeah.
They can demand certain things, or you can't say this, you can't say that, and you've got to joke about this. So
they censor stuff, don't they? Obviously, if they're paying you that money, and it's going to be on national television.
And it's an advert. It's not even just like a comedy show where they're censoring it. It's an advert for a bank. So you took that money, and then so I did it and got it. Like, adverts are annoying, aren't they? When you've seen an advert 10 times and it's on for the 11th time, you're getting annoyed. Yeah. Like the Go Compare guy, everyone wants to punch his head in because he's annoying, because he's always fucking there, right? And I had a low level of that. There's people messaging me going, nice fat, scouse, cock-eyed cunt. I'm going to fucking punch his head in. One of the worst jokes I've ever fucking heard. It was shit the 3rd time, never mind the 27th. People got angry. And I'm like, do you know what? I actually get it. Because I've felt like that about other adverts before. But it's horrible when it's you, do you know what I mean? So that's all going on. And look, I did it and I had to just be like, oh, I've made a bit of money. It sold me a couple of tour tickets. It probably cost me a few fans, because there's people who seen it, hated it, and thought that's what I do. And it's so far away from what I actually do.
Yeah.
And then, so that advertising campaign was called Payday Save Day.
Yeah.
So the idea was, on payday, that should be your save day as well. You should literally throw a bit of your money back in to save money.
It's a little savings account.
Yeah. So I think there was like 7 comedians who got it, and everyone else just got 1 advert each, but I had 3. Like, they used 3 of my jokes.
Yeah.
So
shows how good you are, though, lad, doesn't it? Know what I mean? You only all them got 1, you got 3.
Yeah. But so if you go on YouTube now and type in Save Day Payday, you will see every other comedian's advert still there. Mine's not there anymore. So I put a joke on at the start of the pandemic, which was a bit of a brutal one. And it was when we didn't really know what COVID was.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, it's only going to kill old people. And do we really need that many of them?
Yeah.
Like, let's just let a few of them go. Things will be easier. Tesco will be fucking quiet. Like, it'll be good. Right? I was just being an arsehole.
Yeah, saying a joke like a comedian.
Yeah. So the bank get in touch with my agent and was like, can you get Adam to take that video down? It's really offensive. So my agent goes, do us a favour, Ad. Bank aren't happy with that video. You take that down. And I went, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no? They paid you this amount of money. You're going to have to. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not setting a precedent where they can decide what I can and can't put out as a joke. And they were like, right, well, they're going to... I think they were thinking about suing us at one point. And I was like, well, I'm not taking a video down. It's not happening. I'm not setting that legal precedent that I have to take stuff down when they want it. Yeah. That was never agreed to in the contract. I would have never done the advert. It's not happening. I didn't see a lot of it. My agent dealt with it. And in the end, they were like, are you really not going to take this down? I was like, I tell you what, tell them this. Tell them. If they want to sue us, sound. But not only is my video not coming down, but also I will then write a routine about them suing me. So not only will this stay up, in my next show, the big bit at the end will be about Nationwide suing me. And I don't know whether my agent ever went back and told them, look, this...
I hope he did, I hope he did.
But it went away, right? And my agent has told me since that was a lot more stressful than that he told me. He was like, I didn't tell you everything. That was hard.
Yeah.
But then that advert was never on the telly again. And it's been removed from YouTube. But everyone else's is still on YouTube.
But you're happy with that,
I'm fucking made up.
You're made up with that. It's like, yes.
And you know what? Like, to be fair to Nationwide, that was the only issue we ever had. They wear sound. What was really funny was, like, I bank with Santander, right? I'm not with Nationwide. And I remember on Twitter once, someone took a fucking picture of me walking into Santander and tagged Nationwide saying, this your boy, yeah?
Proper scouse as well, this your boy. This your boy on the adverts going into Santander, is it?
Yeah.
Brilliant that,
Yeah, it was a good thing to get at the time because it dragged me out of debt and stuff.
Yeah. So that's what I was about to say to you, lad. So did that help your profile or did it hinder it?
Probably neither.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think it had a massive impact on me career.
Yeah.
I think financially it was good. And obviously, you get the odd person going, oh, you're that guy off the advert. And maybe they see it and then they go and find some of your stuff. So if anything, it probably had a very small, good impact.
Yeah.
But I think it was probably 50-50. I think some people were like, oh, that cunt, I'll never go and see him. And I think some people were like, oh, who's that? I'll have a check of his stuff out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know. But I'd like to think just nothing. I think putting the stand-up clips out via the Hot Water Comedy Club, putting my own stand-up clips out from other places, the podcast, and then Roast Battle and Live at the Apollo on the telly, doing both of them. I think that's where...
Lad, that roast battle. I've seen some of you on that, lad. Like, people, it's funny because people try and say stuff about you, right? Yeah. And lad, you've heard it all before. You've heard every single thing that anyone could ever say to you about your life.
I went to fucking Cardinal.
Exactly, especially in Liverpool, lad, know what I mean?
By the end of year 7, it was done.
Yeah.
Like, I had it all, do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're never going to get... Nothing you can say on the telly is as harsh
as what people say to you in Liverpool.
But even roast battle, that's the thing with telly, and like, I'm in a fortunate position because I've sort of got my own career that I've built myself independently with the podcast and stuff. But I do get TV opportunities as well. And I do have me cake and eat it a bit when I'm slagging the industry off and that.
Yeah.
But like, even roast battle, writing jokes for telly is hard because they have to go through, like, all these TV channels are owned, apart from the BBC, which is owned by the public, but like, all these TV channels are owned by big companies and they've got massive lawyer teams and they don't want any shit, do you know what I mean? What they want is people to watch the show and to have no complaints.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard to have both, especially when your show is roast battle.
I was just about to say that the show's called Roast Battle. How can you, like, where's the balance there? Know what I mean? You've got to like try and offend the other person as you're saying the joke.
Without offending people at home.
Yeah, without offending people at home. It makes no sense, lad.
And it gets really nitpicky at times. So you have to write 5 jokes for roast battle, and I had like 64 rejected.
Fuck off.
They were like, you can't say that on the telly, mate. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's roast battle, but you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that.
64.
The worst bit, and I think I can say this now because I don't think they're making any more, and I hope I don't piss anyone off, but I'm talking a lot of shit here. This is... No. So, one of the jokes I did on roast battle to Maisie Adam, who was great. She's fucking great.
I think that's the one who I've seen you having the back and forth with on
that's the only one I've done.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So, she's from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
And one of the jokes I did in the end was she gets described in reviews as down to earth, by which I think people mean she's so pale she looks like she's being dug up.
Yeah.
She looks like a ghost of one of the prostitutes the Yorkshire Ripper killed.
Yeah.
Right? In the first draft of that joke was she looks like a ghost of one of the kids buried on the Yorkshire moors. Right? And the lawyer come back and was like, no, mate. You can't say that. That's about dead kids, innit?
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay. So I changed it to Peter Sutcliffe. She looks like a ghost of one of the prostitutes Peter Sutcliffe killed, who is the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yeah. He said you can't say that either.
You can't say that. You're going to have to say Yorkshire Ripper. Because it makes
sounds worse.
Well, what they said, it makes it sound less human. And I was like, all right, whatever.
I think saying someone's name sounds better than saying the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yeah. It seems a lot more brutal.
Yeah.
So, like, I just gave up. I was like, all right, I'll say it that way. But on the dead kid thing, like, when you do roast battle, and I hope I'm not revealing too much about telly to people who still believe it's all fucking not set up and that. Every comedy show you watch on the telly is written in advance. Even like Mock the Week, where it looks like it's off the top, it fucking isn't. Do you know what I mean? They're all written and approved in going.
Yeah. Are you learning something new every day there, I'll be honest? And like some of the stuff that Frankie Boyle comes out with on that, lad, like obviously he hasn't been on it for years.
Yeah.
But back in the day, some of the stuff he used to come out with, I'd be like,
yeah, but
they have to agree to get that on.
Yeah, but they were written in advance. They were. Like, they just were. They can't risk it all being off the top because then the telly might be shit. They need to know. Like, there's the odd comment will be off the top, but most of it. And I think with roast battle is you write your own jokes for it, but when you sign up for it, they have an in-house writer and he gives you a page of jokes and he's like, I've written these about Maisie. If you want to use mine, you can. These are free. Yeah. So you don't have to just write your own jokes. You can use a couple. And Maisie told me they gave her a Hillsborough joke for roast battle. They gave her one, like their writers. She showed me it. And it was, look, if she'd have said it, I'd have just had to take it.
Yeah.
But Maisie was like, I'm not doing it. And when they said I couldn't do the kid buried on the Yorkshire Moor one, they were like, that's about dead kids. And I was like, but kids were fucking like Hillsborough.
What are you on about?
And they went, oh, and this was where it got really funny. Like, not funny, but I literally went, I'm going to have to put the phone down and ring my agent, mate, and he'll talk to you. He went, I don't think there'll be as much of a kick-off about that, about Hillsborough compared to... And I went, right, okay. So I rang my agent and was like, look, I don't really know, like I'm talking to a lawyer here. And like...
Lad, I would have told him to fuck right off.
I was just, I went, I'm just going to have to call me agent.
You know me, lad, I've got no filter. I would have said, who were you talking to, lad?
I spoke to Maisie about it. She was like, oh, I was never going to do it. I was like, Maisie, you wouldn't be able to gig in Liverpool ever again.
Ever again? No, you
just wouldn't. Like, it's so... Like, maybe at some point, if justice is served for it, then there might be an inch where Liverpool can go, right, okay, we've had something. We can take something in the darkest circumstances, something. But it was like, until that, like, you can't even mention it in a show like this. And I'll tell you what the joke was that they gave it afterwards. And it's not as bad as it could be, but it's still bad. So it's quite interesting to tell you what they think is acceptable and what they think isn't.
How did they, obviously because it's a different country and it's America, how did they get away with it then? Because some of the shit that they say on them roast battles are fucking...
In America?
Yeah, like obviously, I know Pete Davidson can half say stuff about it because his dad died there, but like some of them 9/11 jokes what gets said there, you're just like, oh. Yeah,
I don't really know. I guess they're owned by different companies, even though they're both Comedy Central. I think like Comedy Central UK is a completely separate company to Comedy Central USA. Yeah. So I think it's just different laws, different states, different countries. I think it's just ran completely differently. But I think they're not doing any more roast battles in the UK, certainly for a while, because the new company that owned it when I did it, I think they were like, this back and forth with all the comedians is too much work.
Yeah.
Because like if you get booked for roast battle, like the one we did it at Content, you know, Johnny Bongo's gaff,
Yeah,
where you came.
Yeah, where I came for that.
So we did it again there on Sunday. And like the stuff that got said in there, like there's nothing that could go on the telly. Not one joke could have gone on the telly.
Not one.
Not one. Well, no, I don't think so.
The way you went, well...
there might be a couple that they'd like tone down a bit and edit, but a lot of them they'd just be like...
Are you messing? How do you think we can put this on public television?
Freddie Quinn, who hosted when you were on Have a Word, he stole the show. Like, I'm not slagging Freddie off, but he, like, on that bill the other night, there's a lot of comedians who are on that bill who've done a lot of TV, and Freddie hasn't done any. Do you know what I mean? He's the least sort of profiled comedian that we had on, but we got him on because he's good at roasting, and he stood out compared to everyone else because he was so dark. And like, so like we said, look, you can say anything. I said the only thing we couldn't talk about was like, I mentioned sort of briefly before, split up with me bed in January. Yeah. I was like, you can slag me off for that. You can talk about that breakup. I just don't want you to tell the audience what happened. Yeah. Because I haven't told anyone yet, like, fan-wise.
Yeah, of course.
And they're like, sound. But like my mum died from drinking like 9 years ago. And some of the jokes about like me mum, like Freddie said, and I hope he doesn't mind me doing a couple of his roast jokes. He was like, Adam's mum died from alcoholism. She was cremated, but her liver had so much alcohol in it, the fire didn't go for 6 weeks. And then he was like, that's why they keep doing ghost hunts on the podcast, because he's just trying to bump into her. And I just had to sit there and just take it.
I don't know, you could just sit there and take that. Like,
they're not even the worst things. They're the ones I can say out loud.
They're the ones you can say out loud, yeah, that you can say on camera. You can't even say half of the other ones.
Nope. They're the acceptable ones. They're the ones that'll make the edit.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, brutal for me. But like...
Yeah.
There's a couple that, like, now that I'm thinking of a couple, there's a few that would have made the telly, I suppose. Like Dan, who I normally co-host with, it was me and him sat on the couch and them roasting us. Yeah. And they were roasting each other as well. But like, Dan's been struggling with a coke addiction. He's in like rehab for it and that. And they were like, hey, did you see that line outside to get in before? It's so big, Dan was trying to snort it. Like,
that's like that's not as bad as joking about your mother, lad. Come on.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, they know that I can take it, do you know what I mean? And they also know, because I've spoken in the past on like interviews I've done, that me mum could take it. Yeah. Me mum would absolutely laugh her head off at stuff like that. Yeah. She introduced me to comedy, me mum. She'd absolutely take those jokes. So I don't mind it. I understand that some people, someone joked about their dead mum, they'd get up and punch someone's head. Yeah, but that's just not me. I'm just like, it's not really a personal joke. It's just, you're trying to say the worst thing to entertain 1,000 people or however many we had there. It was the roast thing we did the other night with Have a Word was the most fun I've had on stage in 12 years of doing comedy.
And you were getting ripped to death.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Everyone should be like this. Adam's the man, lad. You know what I mean? People shouldn't be snowflakes and just take everything the wrong way. Everyone should just take it as it is, you know what I mean? Take it as it is. It's a joke.
You sign up for it. We signed up for it and we booked the most brutal comedians we could for it. So, but we're not even making any of it public. Like, it's going to go on Patreon, like highlights. Yeah. But even that'll be heavily edited down because it's hot, lad.
If he's sitting there giggling to himself about it, then it's heavy. You know what I mean? If he's sitting there thinking, yeah, I can't put that up.
Put it this way, there was a handful of jokes that were 10 out of 10 too far. Yeah. And I reckon compared to them, that the ones I've just done about my mum were like a 5. There's things like twice
as heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, lad, when I come to that last Have a Word podcast, the live one, lad, that was so funny, you know.
It was like, wild, wasn't it?
That was, lad, I couldn't get over the queue out the door, lad. Like, literally, the queues to see this man and the lads, it's just unbelievable, lad. Like the amount of people who just buy tickets as soon as you put them on sale, like we're doing, it went on sale before and it pretty much sold out straight away. You know the small room of the arena, the little auditorium room? Yeah. Some of the lads have fought in there. The Cage Warriors have done events in there. Yeah.
So on the 5th of March, we put it on sale before. We're doing a live event where it's like we're doing a parody, a blind date. So like we're going to have me on one side of the screen. Me on one side of the screen and like 3 birds on the other side, you know, like...
Yeah.
And Dan's going to... He's dressing as Cilla Black. And we keep saying Dan's going to Cilla Black up.
I might have to come this, lad.
Lad, we've got like loads of tickets as well, like to invite like former guests.
Might have to come to the show. That'd be brilliant, lad.
So we've got me getting set up. There's Finn, the producer.
Yeah.
He's getting set up. We've got Lauren, who's been on before. She's getting set up with a lad. We're going to do stand-up as well and make a bit of a show of it. So that's our next live show. And then we've got another live show in December that we can't tell anyone about yet until it's contracted, but it'll be the biggest thing we've ever done. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Yeah.
And when we drop that, people's heads are going to... Like, we're already at the front of, like, the comedy podcast thing. Like, no one can touch us at the minute.
To be honest, usually, like, the first ever comedy podcast I see, like, comedians actually putting a podcast out there, like...
Well, they've been massive in New York and LA for years, and no one really just did what we've done over here. And because we're like first to the market, we're just hoovering up all these loads of fans. And now there's so many people copying us.
I was just about to say, lad, I've seen so many different podcasts, so many different comedians trying to like copy your style of podcast. Yeah. And it half does me head in.
No, do you know what, lad? Here's how I see it.
It's a compliment, like.
It's a compliment, but also, and this goes back to me slagging the industry off, even though I get work from it. The comedy industry is so much better in comedians' hands than non-comedians' hands. And at the minute, it's in non-comedians' hands. It's people who went to Oxford and Cambridge to study media, and then they go in the telly because their dad knows someone who works in the telly, and they wake up, and it never changes. And like, there's a big push at the minute for more diversity on telly. We want more women, we want more black people, we want more Asian people, we want more disabled people, we want more everything. It's all on screen. There's no diversity behind it. Everyone behind it's called fucking Tabitha and Tarquin, and like it's white as fuck. It's middle and upper class as fuck.
Yeah.
And that's why telly isn't changing properly. Even when they put a diverse lineup in front of the camera, the people making the show aren't, and no one's talking about that. The comedy industry will be so much better in comedians' hands. And the way that happens is comedians getting off their ass. Comedians are quite naturally lazy people, which is why I've always been at an advantage, because I'm not. Like, I will work my ass off, do you know what I mean? It'll be so much better in comedians' hands. So if comedians get off their ass and they start their own podcast, their own YouTube shows, put their own stand-up out, film their own stand-up, put the events on like we are with Have a Word and the big ones and whatever, it will slowly become the comedians running the industry, because that's what happens in New York and LA now. The comedians control the game, and producers have to come to them and beg them to be on their shows, because then they'll bring their audience to the show.
Yeah, I get you.
They're not trying to go on TV shows to get an audience. TV need them to bring the audience to the show, and that needs to happen over here. So although there literally is people copying us, people are literally doing exactly what we've done, but they're telling us, they're very honest, they're like, oh, you're inspired that we're doing it.
Yeah.
Amazing. And we only took it from America as well.
Yeah.
When a mate of ours or someone we respect starts a podcast, we just invite them on. We're just like, come and promote it.
Yeah.
Come on, promote it. We'll give you the push. Because the phrase that I use is a rising tide raises all ships. So if there's still a lot of people now who don't even know what podcasts are over here. They're just like, oh, I sort of know what Joe Rogan... Like, they don't really know.
That's the main one everyone mentions. Oh, that's like what Joe Rogan does. You know what I mean? That's the first one you think of.
But the more podcasts there are and the more people it is promoting them, the more people will listen to them. And then that means there's more and more audience to go around. And if I'm going on tour at the minute in the UK, there's not many podcasts I can jump on that are worthwhile me doing to promote me tour, because they haven't got that many listeners, and the ones that they have probably already listened to mine anyway.
Yeah.
But if that grows and every podcast has got an audience of 50,000 people or 100,000 people or 500,000 people or whatever, and there's then 20 podcasts when I announce a tour and I can go and do them all, it'll boost my sales.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to help build... We're trying to help build a podcast industry that in the long term will benefit us. It's not a hindrance. No one's stealing fans from us by starting their own podcast.
Yeah.
And if they can do that, then they were never real fans anyway. So
yeah, spot on.
Like, other people starting their own stuff that is similar to ours doesn't affect us. If anything, long term, it will benefit us. So we want to promote everyone's stuff. And like I say, it's better in comedians' hands. Long term, if I go on a podcast and I help build their audience, and then they get even more audience off the back of it, the next time I do it, it'll be even better for me. And it's the same with you.
Yeah.
Like I say, your episode done a load more views for our show than like a lot of the other ones around it.
Yeah.
But our audience is now a lot bigger, and that will have been because some of your fans will have recommended our show to their mates, and their mates might not be MMA fans, but they like Have a Word.
Yeah, but they like comedy.
And now they're involved with that. But that wouldn't have happened if you didn't come on. Yeah. So we will now have non-MMA fans listening to Have a Word that would never have found it if you hadn't come on it, even though you're from MMA. Do you know what I mean?
It's the ripple effect, isn't it?
But then when you come back on, those people will have recommended it to even more people who do love MMA. And they'll go, oh, I like this lad, I'm going to watch his next fight. So you coming on in the first place helped us to get bigger. But then us getting bigger when you come back on
was going to benefit everyone.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've got to think of the long game. So when people are coming on and literally doing what we do and starting their own shows, I'm just like, not only is it a compliment, but it definitely isn't taken away from us. There's enough people to go around. This like famine mentality of everyone's got their own following, they're trying to keep it and not share it, just needs to go in the fucking bin.
It's mad, isn't it? There's 8 billion people or something in the world now. Like, there's enough people to go around, enough views to go around. It's some people get a bit too jealous, lad. I've heard about that, a lot of that in the music industry, lad. People like trying to say, oh, he's robbed me style, he's robbed me upbeat, he's robbed me stroke.
I know exactly who you're talking about there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're just like, what?
I bumped into him in the Clockworks the other day.
They've been going for since like the 50s, the 60s. What are you on about? How can you say someone stole your style? It's crazy, lad. Yeah. You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand how people can say that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is.
As long as you're not actually like, as long as someone's not dressing up as you, lad, and like trying to be exactly you, it's not copying you.
No. Yeah. And then get pissed off at your tribute acts. I've got beef with tribute acts, you know.
Do you hate tribute acts?
I think, right. So this comes from here's a story. I've been trying to do this on stage and I don't think it's necessarily stand up as a story, but I think it'll work talking to you. So here's what happened, right. This is all true, right?
Looking forward to this.
So I was in Brighton for a weekend of gigs, and on the Saturday I decided I was going to drive home after the show. So I didn't pay for a hotel for the Saturday for myself. Yeah. I just thought I'll check out at 11 in the morning, I'll go and get a bit of brekkie, and I'll just sit in Brighton all day. I'll wait for my show. Maybe have 1 or 2 pints before the gig, and they'll wear off, and then I can drive home. Yeah. So I go in this boozer, and I'm sat at the bar. If I'm on my own, I love sitting at the bar. Yeah. Right? So I sit on a stool at the bar, I go, can I have a Peroni, please, mate? The fella sitting next to me, so it's like an empty stool, and then he's on the next one. And he goes, all right, lads, Scouser, are we? And he's got like a softer Scouse accent. Yeah. I was like, how you, mate? Yeah. He goes, same, lad, same. He's like, I've been down here 20 years, still got my accent like a little bit, you know, soft, a little bit soft now. He's like, from Dovecot myself. I was like, where? He goes, Windstone, which is the continuation of my road, Kemsley. Right? And I was like, fuck off. So he's dead sound on that. And he goes, so what are you doing in Brighton? And I said, so the comedy club in Brighton's called Comedia. Yeah. Right? So I said, I'm a comic. I'm on a Comedia. And he went, it's fucking embarrassing that, mate. Right? And I thought he just turned. I was like, what the fuck? So I went, sorry. And he went, it's just fucking embarrassing. I don't know how you do that. I went, what? He goes, it's like a load of men like dressed as superheroes and that. So
I thought you said Comic-Con.
Yeah. Right? But
I just had a snot bubble and everything. Oh.
So I didn't get onto it anywhere near as quick as you have, right? I went, what are you talking about, superheroes, mate? And he went, Comic-Con at that Comedia place down the corner. And I went, no, mate, right. I'm a comedian, a comic, and I'm performing. I'm on at Comedia, which is a comedy club. And he goes, oh, right. Sounds. He goes, oh, that's good then. That's good. Scouse comedian. Yeah, we had a good rich history of comedians in Liverpool, haven't we? He goes, I'm actually in the entertainment business myself, to be honest with you, mate. That's why I moved down here. And I went, what do you do? And he said, I'm Gary Barlow in a Take That tribute band, right? And it was like he couldn't see the irony of what he was saying. Yeah. And this is why I don't think it works on stages. It needs a little bit of explanation, but this old fella was willing. Look, I'm not into the superhero thing. I'm not going to be going to comic. I might go for a laugh at some point might go with the podcast lads to take the piss a bit. Yeah. It's not my thing. But it's just people who like their thing, innit? Yeah, they like comics. Their thing, isn't it? And they want to dress up as Superman. They don't think they're Superman. Yeah. But this fella's happy to sit there, look me in the eye and go, I'm Gary Barlow, and not see any of the irony in what he's saying. And I just don't know how tribute acts can look their family in the eye. I think it's the most embarrassing way to make a living. How can you look at your wife and kids and go, oh, see you later, babe. Yeah, oh, little Tom. Yeah, oh, love you, mate, so much. And Lily, you're doing so well at school. Daddy's not going to be here tonight because he's got to be in Coventry. Yeah. In the Hare and Hounds in Coventry. And I'm Gary Barlow, like, to your children. I think the only people more embarrassing than tribute acts are the people who pay to go and see them. When someone's like, oh, we had a great weekend, we went to see a Meatloaf tribute act in Manchester, I'm like, you've got no life.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other better things you could be doing with your life than going to see a man in his 50s pretend to be someone he isn't
else
for 2 hours, and you paid 40 quid to go and watch him.
That's brilliant. You know?
Embarrassing. They're the embarrassing ones. Not the Comic-Con people. They're just people who got bullied at school a bit and found a safe place in comic books.
Yeah.
They found something they could identify with, and they found another group of people
who identify with them.
Yeah. And they're like, look, this is me. I like me stories. I like me cartoons. And then they got to adulthood, and it's their only fond memory from childhood. So they've clung to it. And once a year, they just want one day a fucking year where they can go to a warehouse and no one judges them for dressing as the fucking Green Goblin. That's all they want. They're fine. But this sad fucking 50-year-old twat who's got the absolute fucking gall to look me, a stranger, in the eye and not say, I act as Gary Barlow. I'm Gary Barlow. You're not? No, I am. Because look at me here. Just like Gary's, isn't it? Fucking embarrassing.
Lad. Killed me that, you know, lad. I hope that fella watches this podcast, you know. I hope that fella watches this podcast and is just like, yeah, I'm a tip, me. Oh, lad, I hope he watches that. Yeah, and he's from Dovey to make it even worse. He's a local. He's from Dovecot, and he doesn't realise how much of a tit he is. Oh. You know what, lad? Just before we finish that, the ones that did you ever see that video going about on WhatsApp a few months ago from the Daisy, that stand-up comic getting absolutely leaded by Dean?
Yeah,
lad.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of that video? And obviously, about, like, hecklers, if you've ever had many in the past, lad, that have...
Well, first of all, any comedian who takes a gig in the Daisy is, you know...
round the bend.
Yeah, I mean, that's at their own risk, innit?
Yeah, it is at their own risk.
They've got no right to complain, oh, the gig in the Daisy went wrong, did it? That didn't quite go to plan. Oh, who could have possibly foretold that? Here's the thing with hecklers, right? Some people go to comedy to heckle, and they're assholes. They are. If they're going purposely to ruin the show, especially at a comedy club, the Daisy's different. That's probably his local.
Yeah, it is,
and he's having a pint, and someone's walked in and tried to tell you, and he's like, just fuck, I'm trying to have a chat with mates, fuck off. If you go to a comedy club where people are paying 20 quid a ticket, and that's everyone's night out for the week, maybe the month, maybe 6 months, people don't go out that often, you know what I mean? If you're ruining a show for people who've got a babysitter and been for a meal and they've built their week around this night, you're a cunt.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, just fuck off, just go away, right? And the worst is sort of talking amongst yourselves. People who just have a chat in the comedy club with their mates.
Yeah,
it's the most rude thing in the world.
Yeah, rude.
So rude.
Proper ignorance.
Distracts everyone in the audience, distracts the comedian, and that's when I'll lose it. I'll have a back and forth with a heckler and have a laugh. If someone's talking, I will literally just go to the door and get them out. Can't be asked.
Yeah.
No time for it. But a heckle that is necessary, or a heckle like that guy, that comedian was struggling like fuck in the Daisy.
Yeah, he was.
People are getting pissed off because you can't do your job. You've got to be... If a heckler's trying to ruin a show and the comedian's doing well, they're being a twat. If a heckler's joining in because a comedian's eating a bag of shit on stage, like they've paid the money.
Yeah.
You've got to be doing your job. Like, I'm not saying if you don't like it, you should be heckling them. I'm saying if the whole room clearly hates it, I don't think the comedian's got any right to moan. I'm not going to name the comedian in this story, but I've got a story that sort of sums this up perfectly, right? It was in Manchester, a comedy club called the Frog and Bucket. And the middle act, it was always the weakest act. Open strong, end even stronger.
Yeah.
Right? So, this comedian's on in the middle. Really, really, really struggling. Bad. Not doing well at all. It's like 11 minutes in. Not one laugh yet. 11 minutes into 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's heavy, that.
And this table just starts talking. And the comedian loses it and goes, can you shut the fuck up, actually? It's really rude to be talking while the show's on. But the whole audience hated the comedian.
Yeah.
Just literally was like, we were just not into it at all.
Yeah.
So she didn't have the the control over the room to be that harsh with these people talking. And he fucking buried the lad. And it wasn't even audible. He was trying to be nice and it made it so much worse. So she goes, fucking talking when the show's on. Do you know how fucking rude that is? You're just being cunts. And the room goes, and the guy went, we gave you a chance. And that was it, lad. It's
everyone
the most,
just started laughing.
It was, everyone just felt awkward, lad. But it was, and she had nothing to say because he's just having a conversation on a night out. And he was like, we gave you a chance. It was so subtle and so brutal because he could have just gone, oh, you stupid cunt, you shit.
Yeah.
And then it's a back and forth, but he was just so, she'd called him a cunt and he went, we gave you a chance. Lad, it hurt me so. I was watching it. I was like, oh no, she'll never recover from this.
Yeah. And hasn't she?
I refuse to answer on the grounds. I may incriminate myself. I plead the fifth.
Yeah. A lot of comedians don't like coming to Liverpool, do they?
No. They didn't used to because there's 3 places comedians don't like going. They're all very similar. It's Liverpool, Newcastle and Glasgow. And it's because the people in the audience, first of all, they're all funny.
Yeah.
Everyone's always having a laugh and a joke in those cities. And they're working class as fuck. And it goes back to they've paid for their ticket. They've paid for the ticket. Do your job. I've fucking paid to be here. If you're not doing your job, I'm going to tell you. Because I've paid, look, we can't really look at it because we're both doing all right and we've got a bit of money and we probably go out more than most people do to stuff. Some people in Liverpool who have got good, decent jobs, but they've got a family life, they've got a mortgage or a rent or whatever, car payments.
Kids and stuff.
They have one night out a month. This is their night out. Do your job. Entertain them. Make them laugh. And if you don't, they will let you know. That's why people don't like coming here. It's comedians who want to get away with being shitter than they should be. And they'll go to posh places like Cambridge where the people aren't that arsed because they're going out 6 times a month anyway. Yeah. So they're like, oh, well, this show isn't good, but I'm sure tomorrow's will be lovely. But so they don't heckle, they don't get involved. But in a working class city, especially marginalised cities like those 3 who've been, centralised funding from the government, we haven't had enough of it. There's a lot more skim people. And skim people, if you are wasting their 20 quid ticket money, will tell you, you're shit, get away. I'd rather go and have a pint in the bar than listen to any more of this turgid shite.
Yeah.
That's why people don't like coming here.
It is. Fact, and lad, that's great to end it on, to be honest, lad. But what was, obviously, before we finish, lad, anything you want to tell everyone about your podcast, lad, tell everyone about the shows you've got coming up and stuff like that, where to find you on social media and that. Okay.
So, Instagram is Adam Rowe Comedian. Twitter is Adam Rowe Comedy. I wish they were the same, but when I set them up, they were just different. Podcast is Have a Word. That's all over social media at Have a Word Pod. And it's on YouTube and every other platform that you can find podcasts on. And tour. So, to be honest with you, very, very fortunate. I'm going on tour next week, starting in Nottingham. Those tickets are at adamrowe.co.uk/shows. And we've just added so the first date sold out. We've just added a second date at the Philharmonic Hall. And it looks like the second date we're going to be filming to release as a special. And I can't tell anyone where it's going yet because contracts aren't signed.
Of course, contracts. You've got to make sure everything's signed before you mention stuff, innit?
We're negotiating with the right people.
Yeah.
But it's going to be filmed, and at very least it'll be going out sort of towards the end of the year, a film of the hour-long show that I'm going to be touring. I think it's the best show I've ever written. There's a little bit of COVID jokes in there, but there's a lot more less COVID stuff. There's maybe like 10 minutes of COVID jokes because it feels like if you don't mention it, it feels like you've been living under a rock. Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
But I also didn't want to make the whole show about it because I think everyone's bored of it. But yeah, I think it's good. Got good support acts coming with me. So the second Liverpool date, which has got tickets left, is Saturday the 25th of June. The first Liverpool date, which is sold out, but I think might end up being half empty, is the night before the Champions League final. And if Liverpool get there, I think half of my fans are going to be on the way to Moscow.
You're not wrong there. Like we can't help ourselves when it comes to the footy, can we?
I'm going to be literally getting off stage at the Phil and going straight to fucking Manchester to fly to Russia. If we get there, but I think we're going to be. I think we're going to get there. I don't think there's a team in Europe who can live with us over 2 legs at the minute. No. But thank you very much for coming on, lad. Thanks
really
for having us, lad.
Adam.
It's been a good episode.
That's the end of the episode there, people. Thank you for getting involved. Thank you for joining in. See you next week.